Welcome back to Steel and Bands. Okay, the Duke and Duchess in town next February 2025. It's Invictus Vancouver Whistler. These are opening ceremonies, Linda, of Invictus Games gone by. Very exciting to know that these games are coming here.
I missed the Olympics by like a month, so I'm super excited to have a major sporting event coming here. And I don't know a ton about the Invictus Games. I know Prince Harry and Meghan are involved. I know that there are war veterans and what have you, and I don't know much more than that. So we're about to find out more.
Indeed, and really this is about the athletes, but it's also about the families and the generations that come after these athletes. It's generational healing, frankly. And you're going to get to know your Canadian athletes in a way that's super special. And we have just a little snippet from one who will be competing come February 2025. Meet Mark.
Like a lot of Canadians, one of my first introductions to the Invictus Games was when they were in Toronto in 2017. And I watched the competitors on TSN and was just blown away at the compete level and the passion and how supportive everybody was. And I've been following the Invictus Games since then. My previous role, I had the privilege to work with a few competitors who went to several games. And so I saw their journey firsthand and how transformational that was in their journey. So to be able to be a part of that myself is absolutely incredible.
Now, Robyn McVicker is our guest.
Hello.
You are the COO and the Deputy CEO of Invictus.
A lot of letters.
A lot of letters.
Come on now.
But as a born and raised Vancouverite, how excited are you that these games are coming in February?
I couldn't be more excited. I was actually chair of Destination Vancouver when the bid was going in. So I got to get a sense of what was coming and got the idea that, oh my gosh, I need to be part of this.
You know, a lot of people say, well, you know, is it like the Paralympic Games? But it isn't. It's different. Tell us what we can expect.
It's different in that the people who are participating are actually wounded, ill, or injured veterans or active service members. And they are people that come from all over the world, 25 nations. Every person that comes, every competitor brings 2 family and friends because they're all on this journey of recovery. And it's the families that come along and support. So yes, there are sport and the sport's gonna be fabulous, but it's not elite sport like Paralympic. It's sport where people start to overcome their impact, their ability, whether it's a physical injury or an invisible injury. And then the community comes around them. So it may be, which I saw in Dusseldorf last year at the 23 games, that the person that got the most cheers in the pool was actually the one that took 8 minutes to get 25 meters versus the one that did it in 10.
Yeah.
Robyn, I watched Heart of Invictus on Netflix. Highly recommend that everyone in Canada watch this 5-part series on Netflix because you think you know Invictus, because I kind of thought I knew. I did not know. Speak to, if you will, what you've already learned around these games and then sort of how we hope to expand upon that, having winter sports here and showing off Canada.
There's so much that we get to do with Invictus, but I think for me, one of the things that's most powerful is the purpose. Right? My grandfather was in the Navy. I've always had this connection with military. I've had the opportunity in my career to do things that celebrate the military. But now I get to do something that gives back. And we're pulling a team of people together that have games experience or don't have games experience, but have the opportunity to serve those that are serving for us. And it's incredible.
What I love about it is that it's not just athletes and it's not just organizers. You have a whole family of people who have volunteered and have, you know, just as we heard with Mark, once you're in and you're sort of pulled into the world of Invictus for many years going forward.
I think that's one of the things that struck me so much. So in BC, we have this incredible volunteer spirit. We did the 2010 games. People still have their blue jackets and they're still so proud of what they've done. We know that we're going to have volunteers, but what we didn't know is with Invictus, there are hundreds of volunteers that travel from one games to the other because they get roped into this community and they just want to serve it.
At their own expense.
At their own expense.
Okay, that's a really important part of this because one of the things that I learned at the event, the launch event, which was fantastic, by the way. Got all caught up in the partnership with the First Nations peoples. The fact that this is going to be an injection of funds that builds this community here, will leave money behind, unlike some other large events that cost a whole lot of money and then also cost more after the fact. Invictus is a very different model in that it's an org.
Yeah, it really is. We are an organizing committee, and we are so honored to have founding partners in the federal government and the provincial government who both put in a substantial amount of money from Veterans Affairs and from sport tourism in BC, right? So those parties are looking for, how do we ensure that there's legacy back to our members and our community groups? We are so thrilled to have presenting partners like ATCO and Boeing, CHEK, London Drugs, Corporate Canada have come alongside and said, we want to have an opportunity. We want for our employees to be able to volunteer. We want to showcase that we support the military in different ways. You know, the Canucks have been incredible partners. They invited the Duke to come and drop the puck.
Yeah,
and that's how we surprised everybody.
Oh my gosh. Can we talk about Prince Harry for a second? Because I know the athletes are the stars. But here is someone who is known around the world, and his wife Meghan as well. What did they bring to it? How much of the heart of Invictus is built kind of around Harry's vision?
It's Harry's heart.
Yeah.
The heart of Invictus is the Duke's heart. And I got to see that. I mean, I didn't know what to expect when I came into this. I was really excited about the job, but I didn't know where the Duke would be and where he would play. I didn't know the patron. What we got to experience, so in November, in that secret surprise experience, he came out and he wanted to sit with my team and go through every operating plan. We tromped him through all of the mountains, all of the venues, and he sat down and he just talked to us about his vision, how the most important thing we do is the competitor and are the family and friends. And in Canada, he is so concerned about how we link the Indigenous connection.
Nice.
Because this was the first time ever that an organizing federation, so the Invictus Games Foundation internationally, actually said at the welcome and with the support of the 4 host nations on whose these lands will be operated, that was the invitation for the Duke to come and invite the games here.
Love it.
So they've been connected in since the very beginning. Lillooet, Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh. Each of the chiefs had been involved. They're on our board. We had artists from each of the nations collaborate together on what that visual identity would be. And what they all see is that there's such a link between the recovery and the reconciliation that needs to happen in each of these communities, that there's common language being spoken.
Yeah.
And that's where that connection comes from.
You just gave me a full body rush.
It's super beautiful.
Seriously,
Because
it's great.
Invictus means unconquered.
Yeah.
And in watching it and learning about it and seeing Harry hands-on as a veteran and somebody who is very openly talking about his post-traumatic stress that he suffered at the loss of his mother and not being able to really address that. And Invictus, it seems like it's post-traumatic growth,
Oh, I love that.
right? Doesn't
Nice.
it just...
Yes, I love that. I like that framing because the people that I had the chance to meet last week when we were, where Mark was talking about the camp and he was in the Nordic venue, I had a chance to meet 60 people from the Invictus movement. We invited every country to come and bring one participant, one manager, and one coach to learn how to build a winter program.
Winter.
Some of these programs in these countries don't have snow.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
what is happening? But we taught them how to do that, and you would have been amazed because there are competitors that, you know, Sergey from Ukraine was missing an arm and a leg, and he is an advocate for accessibility. And in Ukraine right now, the amount of impact that's happening is overwhelming.
Yeah.
And Sergey has the opportunity to now bring back how to teach winter sport. He went in an adaptive chair with the partnership of Whistler Adaptive, the most incredible skiing coaches you've ever met in your life, in Whistler Blackcomb. And they took him from not knowing to skiing down the top of Whistler all the way.
Well, we saw Harry go down the luge, I think. And
Skeleton.
everybody should do the
Skeleton. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that
Love
was...
to do that.
Head first. It's even more exciting.
I'm sure his security people were feeling good about
yeah, no,
that.
they weren't super happy.
Getting a helmet.
And he did it twice.
Of
'Cause
course
he's
he
in.
would, because
Yeah.
he's Harry. Thank you so much for coming in. Best of luck.
Thank you.
I'm totally going to take it in.
You
Maybe
are
I'll
invited.
volunteer.
We're going.
I'm getting involved. because I think it's super awesome. It was really great to meet you.
Thank you.
Have
so
fun
nice
in
to
the
be here.
next
Thank you
year
so
or
much.
so.
Great
Appreciate
to see
it.
you.
We'll see you again soon.
Robyn McVicker.
Robyn, oh, Heart of Invictus on Netflix. Trust me and get all the way through. Don't stop at 3 and think you know, because you don't.
Right?
Okay, yes.
Okay, still ahead. It was a high school brawl that had a bit of a twist. What the hell is wrong with people is coming up next.
Got to stay tuned for this. Also, our viewing party. Right, got to get to it. Mike and Glenna, thank you for taking part in our viewing party. How you doing?
We also have Ray Alcock in Vancouver. Hi, Ray.
Hi, Ray. Rosamond and Glenn in Burnaby. Love it.
We have Shirley and Marilyn in Burnaby, and this is grandma kind of a situation.
I love it. Generationally watching our program. Send us your photos right now. Viewing party at chekmedia.ca. We're back in a moment.